welcome to another Looney Tunes review video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe to follow my journey to review all 1000 classic Looney Tunes shorts and give this video a like as well. So this is a review for Operation Rabbit, and with me today is Blue Genocide, Super Genius.
I'm not used to recording one of these lives anymore.
But you are a super genius.
Well, I wasn't denying that.
Yes, and just for those who don't know, he's also my sometimes editor for some of the other videos, so it's good to have him back and actually talk about one of these.
Yeah. Now I'll go on tangents and make you edit it all.
Yes, it's like, wahahaha, that's why you come on here. But a few bits of info to get underway. So as mentioned, this is Operation Rabbit, released on the 16th of February 1952. Yeah, they Blue Ribbon reissue sometime in 1960. It's the 639th in the series, and it's directed by Chuck Jones. You can find this on the Looney Tunes Golden Collection Volume 4 DVD set, and also on the Platinum Collection Volume 3 Blu-ray set. Either way is great. They both look good, although Blu-ray is preferred. They even have Paul Dini audio commentary, and he's always fun to listen to. In case you haven't seen this short, I can't show you the full thing here due to copyright on YouTube, but essentially, Wile Coyote, super genius, decides that he's going to eat Bugs Bunny, and he tries to capture Bugs, but of course Bugs outsmarts this supposed super genius. So we'll be definitely discussing all the gags as we go along as well.
Very amateurish attempt on my person. Being a genius certainly has its advantages.
Now, a few bits of trivia for this one. So this is the second Coyote appearance, and this is the first time we hear his actual name, which is Wile Coyote. And it's the first of 5 shorts where he is paired with Bugs Bunny, and in all but the last short, which was Hairbreadth Hurry, the Coyote speaks. And he doesn't in the Roadrunner series, and we'll be discussing a little theory on that once we go through the trivia. I mean, you're looking forward to that, huh, Blue?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And the Coyote is also redesigned here to look Chuck Jones would use in future shorts. So in the first appearance, he looked a lot more skinnier, more scragglier. But here, this is pretty much the design that Chuck would use. Maybe some slight tweaks here and there as the shorts would advance on and on. But for the time being, this is the look he would be using. And I just wanted to make a note in regards to what the Coyote does in the beginning, because a lot of people may not experience this as much. It used to be a lot bigger back in the early 20th century. But so he's doing the whole door-knocking salesman thing, which, yes, still happens, and yes, people still get, scammed in multi-level marketing and that kind of stuff. But back then, you'd have door-to-door salesmen, and they would typically try and sell things to housewives, because back then it was expected that the man would go to work and bring in the bread, so to speak, and the woman would stay home, keep house, raise the kids, and so on. I mean, that's what it was like back then, so don't shoot the messenger here, okay? But the salesman would basically target these housewives, try to sell them vacuum cleaners and all that. And they would use the technique similar to what the Wile Coyote would use in the beginning, where he would just prattle on and on and on about the said product and leaving the, I guess we'll call him a victim, because they're usually buying these crappy products, to not think rationally and purchase the said product, which is usually like a vacuum cleaner or something along those lines. And then the man of the home would come home and be upset. So there you go. How does that sound, Blue?
That sounds about right. I mean, we won't talk about what that unfortunate housewife would get punished with, because I've seen enough I Love Lucy to tell you exactly what would have happened. But
or honeymooners, pow zap to the moon, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean, I just find I've seen all of I Love Lucy, and basically the premise would be that Ricky would come home and more than likely spank Lucy like she is a child, which brings up a lot of problems nowadays.
Oh, yeah, definitely. So, one of the biggest mysteries when I was younger, and I'm sure a lot of people had this same thought, I guess if they weren't as cool as the popular kids at school at least, but whatever. But I always wondered, why did the Coyote speak in a few shorts, but yet in the other shorts with Roadrunner, he just didn't speak at all? And I think in watching these in order, I think I have a bit of a theory on what happened there. So you had the first Roadrunner and Coyote short, and that was always intended to be just a one-off idea. And the directors at the studio would do these one-off ideas all the time. But then on these rare occasions, a one off idea would just become pretty popular that the theatre owners, hey, can you give us some more of this? And this would happen again once the Tasmanian Devil comes around in a few years. So that's probably another good example. But here, my guess is that they did this one shot, didn't think much of it. It was just another day at work. It becomes popular, but while it's becoming popular, while the demand is high to make more of these Roadrunners, Maltese and Jones are at work making this cartoon called Operation Rabbit, where they're trying to just set up a new foil for Bugs. And they figure, hey, we'll just put a coyote and we'll name him Wile Coyote. But then, because there's a demand for more Roadrunners, they do this. And then in 1952, we also get two new Roadrunner shorts after an absence of a few years, because it takes time to make shorts, as we all know. That's my theory.
I think that's pretty accurate. The only thing I want to add is that maybe the coyote just doesn't speak in the Roadrunners because the Roadrunner doesn't speak.
Yeah, I think it was just always intended to be just a generic Coyote and Roadrunner. I don't think there was much to it. I think it was just
Oh,
that.
yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody watching this cartoon in the theaters in 1950 who might have seen the other one, the Roadrunner cartoon, Fast and Furious, I don't think anybody was, hey, this coyote couldn't speak before or something like that. It's just preposterous to imagine that because of a character who is able to speak, they wouldn't try to speak to an animal that itself can't speak. So, like, why is that a problem? I've heard a lot of people bring this cartoon down because of that, and I'm gonna say it right now, I love this cartoon.
Oh, yeah, it's a great one. I watched this one a lot. It's a great one. Right in the beginning, with the portable door, for some reason. I've always loved that.
Oh yeah, no, that's great. I do really like this different type of adversary for Bugs, where he is claiming to be smarter than him. Because normally at this point we would get like Elmer Fudd, who was an idiot, Sam, who was also an idiot but had a really explosive temper and was really aggressive. Like most of Bugs' adversaries in these cartoons were usually like bigger bullies or violent creatures. The only one I can think of that kind of strays away from that is Marvin the Martian, who was also a Chuck Jones creation. But this cartoon has a little bit of a different edge to it than I think the Martian cartoons have.
And the character here, the Wile Coyote, you just, as an audience member, you just want him to just shut up. And in an entertaining way, by the way. I'm not
Oh,
saying he's an annoying
no.
character or anything. He's fun.
No. And Bugs's face as he's talking to him and being all cocky, and he's just like, really?
Exactly, especially that "oh no" face that Bugs does that for a brief moment. That kills me. That face, that one facial expression, where he's got the round lips.
Oh,
That kills
yeah.
me every single time. You know, but for a supposed genius, he's says he's making rabbit stew, and yet the ingredients he's putting in are the ingredients for Caesar salad, which I know was a dish that was kind of taken off at the time in the late 40s, early 50s, and still is allegedly popular today. I like it, but some people I know don't. Some genius, huh? You can't tell the difference between different foods, huh?
Yeah, I think that maybe his hunger blinded him a little bit. He's not thinking straight.
Yep.
I know that I can be that way when I'm hungry.
One thing I did notice with this short and why this works so good is he seems to get more and more desperate as the short goes along, where the schemes to get Bugs get more and more outrageous and just reeks of desperation, especially the last gag where he's filling the carrots with, I guess, the nitroglycerin or whatever it is. But then Bugs is like, I'll just put this cabin in a train tracks and whatever,
That's my favorite bit in the whole cartoon. I think it's most people's favorite bit in the whole cartoon. You've been quoting it this entire video.
Wile Coyote, super genius.
Wile Coyote. He's so proud of himself, even though he's failed so many times up until now. And yet, it's funny, he's doing this elaborate thing, and yet Bugs takes him out in the most simplest way possible, just put him on the train tracks, and that's pretty much it. And it's brilliant.
Yeah, and the whole bit that really clinches it for me is when I like the way that sounds. Wile E. Coyote for
Yes.
genius.
Mel Blanc's delivery in this
Oh,
short
yeah.
is amazing.
This is one of Mel Blanc's best performances, in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. But I do have to also point out, for such a supposed super genius, if he just can't catch this rabbit, why doesn't he just create a drone to grab him some food from a nearby restaurant or something? I mean, granted, I'm guessing his ego just won't let him actually fail here.
See, I thought that was going to be your favorite bit in the cartoon when the drone comes to get Bugs and he writes the name of Coyote on the thing and switches the dial to Coyote and then it goes after him and blows up the entire. I would think that would be your kind of favorite bit in the cartoon.
Oh, that's great. It's a very Tex Avery-esque kind of joke. It's fantastic. It obviously makes no sense whatsoever, but hey, it's a cartoon, right? But I like also the smaller details here, and it's not just the animation, and again, that stupid facial expression Bugs does just kills me, but it's the little details like how Cody just develops this one machine just to help with the lump he gets.
Yeah, and I don't know. If I had a bump on my head, I wouldn't want something like that vibrating on top of it.
Yeah, it's very bizarre, but hey, he's a super genius after all, so
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I
yes,
guess what am I talking about?
oh, exactly. And another little detail I like is Bugs actually does a rendition of the song I'm Looking Over a Four-Leaf Clover, which, funnily enough, was actually used as part of the first Roadrunner cartoon where they're going around a freeway and that song plays in the background. But here, he's basically singing different lyrics as three-leaf clover for some weird reason.
I'm looking over a three-leaf clover that I overlook B3.
And
It's
I don't really understand that either.
Yeah, it's a bit bizarre, but hey, it shows just probably just really doesn't care at this point.
I have come to give myself up on account of I cannot fight no more against such genius. I have made out my last will and testament, but I need a witness to make it official. Would you sign it with his fountain pen?
Is this just me or is Bugs really aggressive in this cartoon?
Well, who wouldn't be? That's why this short works so well. We all hate this Cody character so much because of his absolute smugness about how brilliant it is, and you just want to
Yeah,
see him taken down a peg.
I agree. It's just that you see things in this cartoon that I don't picture Bugs doing. Like in the bit we were just talking about with the cooker that he's put on top of a dirt hole, which is, I guess, a genius way to cook rabbit stew, even though it looks more like a Caesar salad. Again, I'm not the super genius here. But Bugs goes down and traps the coyote right underneath the cooker, which is already pretty violent for a Bugs Bunny cartoon, at least. But
Hmm.
then he goes down into the hole with that stick and gives him a good whack with it.
Well, back to the old drawing board.
And then even at the end, when the coyote is just getting the explosives ready, all Bugs would have to do is know not to eat the carrot or something, but instead he takes a vehicle, drives an explosives, I don't know, dark room, I don't know what to call it, a little shed,
Little cabin shed.
and he drives it right onto the train tracks. Like, this is some of the most aggressive Bugs behavior I've seen in a non-clampet cartoon in a while. It's
Ah,
just that it kind of caught me off guard rewatching it.
it definitely feels more like a clamped bugs, really. But we have the Tex Avery gag, and it even extends to not just the drone, but also the female robots. Just how that scene breaks down is fantastic. So he creates a woman bunny, and you think, oh, hey, this is just going to be a typical. He's going to send it out and obviously try and trick Bugs. When in fact, Bugs is already ahead of the game. He somehow is already a genius. He creates a female Cody one. The Cody for super genius
He
falls
fell for
for
it
it,
immediately.
and he speaks like Pepe Le Pew without the accent, of course.
Ah, my darling, how beautiful you are. How devastating. How lucky.
He blows up, and then he does this beautiful rendition of "Here Comes the Bride."
Here comes the bride, all dressed in...
And he could have stopped there, and it would have been funny. But then you get that wonderful topper where the female
Or the other one.
bunny is just nothing really happens. It just blows up anyway. It's like, oh no, boom. So that one I'd say is probably my favorite gag in terms of just how it was done, where you expect one thing to happen, it doesn't, and then you get that wonderful topper at the end. That's not to say the gag you like is terrible, it's fantastic, but just that the way this was done, chef's kiss right there.
Honestly, I thought there wouldn't be a whole lot to talk about with this cartoon, even though I've wanted to do it for so long. But the thing is that the gags really hold up, and I'm usually the person that will just come out and say that Chuck Jones was not my favorite director of the different directors at the Looney Tunes studio and the Schlesinger studio and all that. But this is one of my favorite, if not my favorite, Chuck Jones short.
Well, it's top choice.
It's just that I'm gonna just say it. I don't think any of the other Bugs, Wile E. Coyote pairings made in the classic era were nearly as good as this one. And I just feel like it's such a different cartoon than what the normal Bugs Bunny short would be at that time. And I kind of love it for that.
And the less said about Hairbreadth Hurry, the better. I think that one was a massive misfire, but it'll be a while before we get to that one.
Is that the one where Bugs takes over for the Roadrunner?
Yep.
Yeah, that one's pretty bad.
Yeah. But we'll definitely get to that. And now here's my good friend John, who has been on a few of these videos and he wants to give his thoughts. So take it away, John.
Hi everyone. I'm also gonna give my thoughts and opinions on the Bugs Bunny cartoon Operation Rabbit. So to begin with, let's talk about the Coyote. The biggest highlight of the short was having the Coyote as the main antagonist. You know, this is the character's second appearance on the classic cartoons after Fast and Furious, which, if anyone is interested on my thoughts on it, I love that cartoon. It's a childhood favorite. So seeing the Coyote back again is pretty cool because it begins to establish the character. You know, it's like if after making Fast and Furious, Jones really thought this character had potential to appear on future cartoons. And this is an example because this was the first entry in a small series of shorts that will feature Bugs and the Coyote fighting. So the first time I watched this short was on the first compilation movie of the Looney Tunes, the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner movie. But that version, the movie, had removed an scene, and it's the one with the Omni, where, you know, the Coyote builds an Omni and Bugs uses a chicken mask. On the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner movie, they delete that scene, and I didn't know that until I finally watched the full cartoon years later. Also, I really like that they gave in this cartoon a Coyote a proper name, Wile E. Coyote. I don't know what the E stands for. Maybe Edward or, I don't know, any other thing with the letter E. But yeah, this cartoon has amazing frames that show how good the animation of Jones' teams is. Like in the scene where Bugs comes to the Coyote's door and asks him to do a truce to stop the fighting and to sign a paper. The Coyote says to sign it and, you know, it's a stick of dynamite, but he says, I knew that this was gonna happen. But he doesn't notice the other side with the other match. And if you do it slow motion, you can see the Coyote's reaction. That's a very good scene. But the best scene in the entire short, for me, is the final one. The one where the Coyote is preparing a few fake carrots, and Bugs takes the cabin and puts it on the train tracks. And the Coyote is saying, Wile E. Coyote, super genius. I like that sound. And meanwhile, the train is back. He reacts to the train coming. I love that scene. I really like how the Coyote's eyes are so expressive. And that scene, I love that. As well, also the ending with the Coyote beat him up and recreating the first scene when he comes with the door and introduces him to Bugs. I also really like that ending. So overall, a pretty great short. And it obviously shows why the Coyote is one of my favorite Looney Tunes characters. He might not have dialogue on the Roadrunner shorts, but when he's with Bugs, he shows a lot of big personality. It's a reason I really like him. This is a very good cartoon, highly recommended, and that's all that I have to say about the first of the Bugs versus the Coyote saga. So I'll see you everyone in the next video.
So in terms of rating, this one gets a solid 9.5 out of 10. This one is an absolute just classic. It's just perfect. Bugs being pitted against a supposed super genius versus all the other adversaries, as you've already pointed out, which is a great point. And he still comes up on top, and it's just a fantastic short. Had me laughing, and once again, that stupid Bugs expression, I think.
I like the more "oh really" face.
Yep.
I like that one a little bit better, but I do agree. I think this cartoon, for me, deserves a 10 out of 10 just for the Wile E. Coyote super genius line. That bit will never not crack me up. I know a lot of people don't like this cartoon specifically because the Wile Coyote talks, and I think that's super lame. I think this is a wonderful cartoon, and I wish more were like it. I know they did more, but I don't think I'm spoiling anything by saying that it came a little late. And when it's late in a theatrical studio, especially in the 50s, you're going to see the quality decline.
Totally agree with you there. So that'll do it for this one. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next time, take care. Boo whoop. That's what I missed, that boo whoop.
Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Mud.
And remember, mud spelled backwards is dumb.